For my presentation, I decided to do Appendix 6. It starts out on page 73, I believe, and it is talking about how it is a must win. So basically, there was a parent that came into the athletic director's office, and she really feels like the whole object of high school athletics is to win. And yes, and winning is important, but that is not the overall goal through everything. Basically, she thinks that there needs to be a different coach that needs to be brought in because the one they have isn't good enough, doesn't inspire the kids, and doesn't really work to do to really win. He's just there and getting by and getting complacent, and she feels like we need a new one. Um, so basically, she says that she's really good friends with the president of the school board, and if the athletic director does not happen to change anything, then she's going to take matters into her own hands and really talk to the school board president and get a different coach and get something switched before the athletic director has any kind of say in it. Um, Really, I feel like the athletic director did a really good job with this incident. She kept saying how the coach doesn't do anything, doesn't inspire. Um, there's only so much inspiring you can do. I mean, each and every day that if you have a game, you should be inspired enough to play from the student's perspective. If you're there, if you're a kid, you want to play. You don't want to be sitting there and practice day in and day out, and then once the game comes, keep that same mentality like, oh, it's a day of practice. No, it's a game day. You got to find that inspiration sometimes within yourself. Your coach can't make you drive that and do that by yourself. Yes, the coach can kind of influence with a pregame talk, pregame rally, with maybe a little assembly at the end of the school day to get them pumped for their first game or something like that, or homecoming. But overall, besides the pregame speech, there's not too much that the coach can do besides really just push and keep it mental for the kids. Besides that, it's really up to the kids that if they want to go out and win and compete, they should have to do that themselves. They know that there's a game to be played. Um, the next topic, she talks about how he doesn't really do anything in the weight room, and she's like, look at the weight room. There's all old equipment, and then she talks about the off-season program that the coach does. Um, the athletic director does a good job of saying how some things that the coach can control, and then there's some things that the coach can't control within that. Basically, with the old equipment in the weight room, the coach can't really control that. It's more up to the school or the athletic department of what equipment gets bought and how it gets used and stuff like that. The coach really can't control of what's there. He just has to use what he has or what he or she has and really use it to the best of their abilities on a daily basis. Off season wise, if the coach doesn't, that's really up to the coach's perspective. There's only a certain amount of days each summer that the coach can do anything uh, with the kids. And I feel like the AD, the athletic director here, did a really good job of saying that the weight room is something that the coach can't control, but the off-season program is what the coach can control. Yes, most people believe that once summer hits, that teaching and coaching just puts it's on a standstill until the next year, but that's really not the case. And I'm not sure about what this coach had really in store, but off season you get a certain amount of days each summer to really work with your kids and get them in the weight room, get them running, conditioning, whatever it may be, to really get them fired up about the next year and get them to where you think that they can compete the next year and not be forced to have to work extra hard the first week or two of practice in order to get them ready because you could have already had them ready from day one of the summer. Um, she talks about how the rivals, their high school rivals or whatever, has a great off-season program. One thing that the head coach can do is just talk to some of their surrounding schools and really figure out a different way to um, really start helping their summer program or off-season programs, such as even in the winter or the fall. I mean, winter or the spring, whenever football is not in session, of what they can do. The problem here could be whenever some kids play multiple sports. Some kids can play basketball and then play baseball. So there's not really much they can do in the off season besides in the summertime. And in the summertime, sometimes just kids don't like to show up. Uh, Really, I think the AD handled this situation as best as he or she could have done. He or she gave mature responses each time. I'm talking about there was one other thing that I forgot to discuss, and it's about really the parent is wanting their kid to get a scholarship for football. Instead, that the kid has worked really hard since fifth grade, going to summer camps and stuff like that. Um, the AD does a good job of this, talking about how there's all kinds of kids that work hard from the moment they're young, and they just can't push through and fight through. It's not just because of the coach that that kid can't receive his college scholarship. There's all kinds of kids across the state, across the across the town, across the state, across the country that don't receive scholarships, even though they've been playing from such a young age. Some kids grow and develop and may be more athletic than that kid, and that's really, I mean, yes, the parent wants a college scholarship to help pay for their school and college, but they're sometimes not able to do so. Really, the athletic director did a really good job of handling the situation, trying to really get everything out of the parent that he or she could, and really try to give the parent answers, the most mature answers that possible for them to give, and really try to see what the parent was upset about. And some things that the parent was upset about really can't be up to the coach to even handle, such as kid getting a scholarship or the weight room equipment and stuff like that. But other things he or she made sure that to say that they're going to look into it, make sure that they have a meeting with the coach or whatever it may be, but look into it and see if there's things that can be switched around to really make sure the coach isn't getting complacent and really working each and every day to make all these kids better. Thank you.